the reeds sing. The morning mist still clung to the surface of the water when Douglas pushed the punt into the reed bed. It was early work, the sort that filled the lungs with river air and left your boots wet through before breakfast. He liked it, mostly. The stillness, the sibilance of reeds whispering secrets only the patient could understand. He was scything into the reeds with his well-worn sickle, one foot braced against the edge of the punt, the other planted firm. And something stirred, sudden, sharp, in the water ahead. A splash, then silence. He paused, narrowing his eyes through the pale haze. Probably a pike or an otter, he thought. Maybe even a heron disturbed too early. But as he drifted closer, he saw it wasn't any of those. A shape, pale against the dark water, half submerged. He dropped to a crouch and reached out, grabbing the edge of a tangled, half-sunken net, snagged between reeds. Something moved within it, arms flailing briefly, then still, caught like wings in a web. Douglas's breath caught. It was a person. Her hair, darkened by water, splayed like riverweed. Limbs tensed in effort. She wasn't drowning, yet, but she was tangled badly. The kind of netting left by poachers or careless fishermen. She thrashed once as he leaned closer, but not like someone desperate for help, more like someone desperate not to be found. He hauled the net, hand over hand. Hey! Hey, stop! I'm helping! The woman froze, eyes wide. There was something odd in her stare. Not fear, not relief. Something like disappointment. Still, she let him cut her free. The knife slipped and nicked his thumb. And when a drop of blood hit the water, she flinched violently, like the sound of it hurt her. He looked at her more closely. She was shivering, skin cool to the touch, lips tinged slightly blue, but not in a dying sort of way. She wore nothing but a thin white shift, soaked through, clinging to her like a sickened skin. "You all right?" he asked, when she was finally free. "Should I call someone?" She shook her head. No. Her voice was low, melodic, like reeds rubbing together in a breeze. "I didn't mean to be here," she added. "You shouldn't have seen me." "You were drowning." "I wasn't." He frowned, confused. "You were caught in a net." Her expression was unreadable. "I was leaving." Before he could ask more, she turned and gracefully, silently, slipped into the water. No splash, no bubbles, just a sudden parting of the surface. In stillness, Douglas sat there, stunned. He waited, eyes scanning the reeds. Nothing. He told no one, not because he thought they wouldn't believe him, but because part of him wasn't sure what he'd seen. The moment lingered, dreamlike. He returned to the same spot the next day, and the day after that. Still nothing. But a week later, she was there again, sitting on the old fallen willow at the bend in the water where the river narrowed. She was dry, hair braided, skin warmed from the sun. Same white dress. "You're real," he said quietly. "Are you real?" They talked. Not much at first. She wouldn't say her name, so he began calling her Willow, and she didn't correct him. She asked questions, strange ones. "Do you dream in straight lines or circles? Do birds follow you because they want something, or because you owe them something?" She would sit with her feet in the water, or paddle among the reeds, humming tunes he didn't recognise, but couldn't forget. One day, she let him touch her hand, and it was warm, warmer than he had expected. Too warm almost. Too warm for someone who was waist deep in cold river. She never came to the village, never spoke of family, never asked him to meet her, but he always found her when he was punting out alone, always by the reeds, always waiting, and sometimes she would vanish into the water, gone in a blink, leaving him questioning reality, the river, himself. He began dreaming differently. In one dream, she had gills beneath her collarbones, delicate and fluttering. In another, she had webbed fingers, touching his cheek, leaving a shimmer that didn't wash away. One morning, he brought her a silver chain. Nothing expensive, a token. She looked at it and turned it in her fingers thoughtfully. "You should be careful giving things to those who dwell in water," she said softly. "Why?" "Gifts are promises." "I don't mind," he said. And she kissed him once. Cool lips, brackish taste, like old salt and stone. After that, she began to change. Not worse, just other. Her eyes darker, skin some days paler. Still, he came, drawn helpless. The river was colder, the birds quieter. Then one morning, she wasn't there. Not the next day, not the next week. He searched, calling his name for her. "Willow," though he knew it was never hers. And then, at the end of the month, he saw a shape caught in the reeds. White cloth, drenched. Still, his heart seized. He punted across, fingers trembling as he reached the body. Only it wasn't a body. It was the white shift, tangled in a net, floating like shed skin. Nothing else. He waited all day, and when the sun dipped low and he turned to leave, he heard something behind him. A soft parting of water. He spun around, but it was only the river. tiny reeds. Years later, people in the village spoke sometimes of the river boy who vanished. They'd say he went mad after a drowning, or that he'd wandered too far downstream. Others would say he married a girl from another town and just left without a word. But when the mist is low and the morning is still, some folks swear they've seen him punting between the reeds, and sometimes they say there's a figure at the front of the boat, a woman, her hair streaming behind her like weeds, her hands just brushing the water. And once, just once, a child, walking the riverbank at dusk, found a silver chain caught in the reeds. It shimmered when she touched it and made her feel cold for days. They threw it back. Some things, after all, aren't meant to be kept.